Let's go back to the noon window for the biggest game of the week.
Oh,
Red
yeah.
River, Oklahoma, Texas, in the Cotton Bowl. Fried everything all around. All right, before we get to the game itself, deep fried Snickers, deep fried Twinkie, or deep fried Oreo? Your choice.
So I've only had a deep fried Oreo before, and it's incredibly delicious. Went to Minnesota State Fair when I played for the Vikings, and everything's fried. Oh God, it was so good. I'm not the biggest Twinkie guy, even though fried Twinkie could be interesting. What was the other option?
Deep fried Snickers bar.
Yeah, no. The Oreo would be. I think the Oreo would be my choice.
The Oreo is very good. The correct answer is deep fried Snickers, but it's close.
I'm not a peanut butter person, so the Snickers is not like my favorite thing in the world. I mean, I'll eat it if given to me, but I'm not going after that very often.
Yeah, you definitely like the Oreo better. The texture on the Oreo is really good. But the texture on the Snickers is good. The Twinkie gets ruined by the texture. I don't really like Twinkies very much either, and the frying it doesn't really do much to it. But the question is, the lines and the totals brought to you by FanDuel, our official sportsbook sponsor. FanDuel is the #1 sportsbook in America. Go to FanDuel.com/Staples, and your first $5 bet guaranteed $200 in bonus bets at FanDuel. You download that app. They got all the sports, everything you could want in-game, player props, you name it. They're there at FanDuel. And the college football lines, well, they're pretty enticing this week. And as you will see, it feels like the FanDuel folks have got it down now, because these teams have finally given us a lot of data. We've got almost half a season worth. And these lines, you will see, I am struggling with a lot of them. And I know you've seen my picks. I struggle with a lot of them anyway. But it feels like as they get more information, it feels tougher and tougher as we go. So FanDuel.com/Staples. Download that app. $200 in bonus bets with your first $5 bet. Do it now. Follow along. You can fade me if you want. It will not hurt my feelings. I've seen my record of late, so you can fade me if you want. But you'll see as we go through the picks with Jeff Schwartz, there's some struggling going on here. They're setting those lines really, really well. FanDuel.com/Staples. On to the picks. Who's getting fried in this game? Because these two teams are both better than the teams that played in this game last year. Now, obviously, Oklahoma can't be any worse because they didn't have a quarterback ready to play. Dillon Gabriel was hurt with a concussion. This wasn't even a game last year. So it's almost like we should pretend that didn't happen.
Yes.
Dillon Gabriel is playing very well this year. Oklahoma's, like you mentioned, Brent Venables earlier and said, give him a year and the defense will look better. Yeah. And sure enough, it does.
Yeah, I think Texas is really good, though.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Which is sort of the hard part of handicapping the game. I mean, I think that I would sort of lean towards Oklahoma in the points in this game. I think if I were to, I'm not wagering on this game at all. But, Texas, if I were to put money on a team right now to win a championship, oh God, I can't believe I'm going to say Texas. I can't do that. There's no way, Andy. I can't actually say that out loud. I just think they're really good.
But Jeff, they are. And they're good where it matters. They're good up front.
They're good in the offensive defensive lines. That's where it matters. And Sark got that job and immediately went to getting better players in the trenches. It's worth noting this is the fifth time Texas has been a favorite in this rivalry since 2005. They've won and covered all of the 3-0-1, but they've won all the games they've been a favorite in the last 5 times. Excuse me, 4 times. This is the fifth time they've been a favorite. I think they're really good. I mean, it doesn't come down to like if Quinn Ewers can just sort of not make a bunch of mistakes, right?
Yes.
Like if he's consistent, they're going to win going away, in my opinion. One other thing, I was looking at the kind of the numbers of this game and the stats of this game. So I'm a big believer in explosive plays because I think it's important to be able to to just generate those type of explosive plays. against good defense. It's hard to drive the field 10, 12, 14 play drives in college football to score points. It's just hard. They're college kids. They commit a penalty. They fumble the ball. They throw a bad pass. It's just hard to do. Oklahoma has not been terribly great at like explosive rushing plays.
Right.
And if you get into
what's missing, really.
Yeah. And if you get into a game against Texas where you can't run the ball and you become one dimensional, that's a problem. Their defense doesn't really hit anybody either. They don't really generate a lot of pressure with the front four. So there's a couple of things I think Texas has better than Oklahoma in this game.
Yeah, the one interesting thing, Jatavian Sanders is day-to-day, the Texas tight end. I think he's the best skill position player on the field if he's playing. So that you add him into the mix. I'm going to take Texas to cover in this game. I do, for the same reasons we just talked about. It feels like they're better on both lines of scrimmage, and they've actually been tested on both lines of scrimmage. Like, they played Alabama. We saw them against fellow 5-star recruit, future NFL type players, and they handled that very well. So I look at Oklahoma, you go back to the Cincinnati game where they're playing Dante Corleone, who's an NFL defensive tackle for sure.
Yeah.
But Texas will rotate 3 of those guys in there.
So go back to something Dan Lanning told me this offseason. It applies to Texas. It applies to other schools. He wants his defensive linemen playing 40 snaps. That's it in a game.
Yeah.
Like the most. And if you watch Oregon play, Georgia play, Texas play, it's not just the 1 deep. It's the 2 deep, right?
Yeah.
It's being able to take a starter out and put someone in who's not going to lose you the rep. They might not be as good, but they won't lose you the rep, right? They won't cause a massive, a gap in a rush against the run. They won't rush out their lane in the pass game. And Texas is able to roll those guys in. Oklahoma, for the most part, is able to roll like that. That's when you look at your favorite team and think, do we have a defense that can last a season? It's not about your front 4. It's about your front 8 and your front 12. And can you rotate those guys in throughout a game to remain fresh?
Well, in Texas, they can actually throw changeups at you, because you could be playing Tavondre Sweat one play, who's 360 pounds, who is incredibly powerful. And then they bring in Alfred Collins, who is super long and quick and a different kind of challenge. Both those guys are probably, maybe round 2, round 3 NFL draft picks. So that's another problem. But you're right. They can absolutely roll those guys in and out, which is not something Texas could really do before. Like, Texas did not have multiple NFL players that they could roll in and out on the D line since they were playing for national championships last.
There's no surprise, right?
Yeah. We try to make it more complicated than it is sometimes, but that's really what it is.
Yeah. It's not that hard sometimes. And we just talked about all these teams this week. And what we highlight a lot of our picks, offensive, defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard sometimes.
Yeah, it's almost like the team with the best big people wins. But
yeah, that works. That's the way I handicap a lot of games. It seems to go well for me.
I love it. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples On 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.